Hi, good morning. My name is Gloria Vyatt. I'm also known as Stamping Gloria, and my craft room is called Stamping Gloria's Crafty Corner. Good morning, good Tuesday morning. It's my goal to come to you 10 on Tuesdays from here forward, and I am looking forward to spending a little bit of time with you. I've decided to try to keep these videos short so that we can get something accomplished and yet not spend too much time sitting in front of our camera or our phones or iPads, whatever it is that we do to watch live videos. So this morning I'm going to be featuring a set called Timeless Tropic. And before I do, I want to introduce something that I'm going to explain in a little bit more detail at the end. I have been very fortunate to work with a group of friends, and we have put together a 40-page, let's see if I can get you on the camera here, a 40-page PDF of some very exciting projects. And we are featuring the Retiring Colors, and it's called The End of the Rainbow. And it's a tutorial bundle put together by 5 independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. So I'm very blessed to be working with some very talented ladies. I'd like to thank those colleagues of mine, Tricia, Marianne, Patty, and Tiffany. And I'll show you a little bit more about that towards the end. There's a way that you can get this for free. All right, well, as I mentioned, we're working with Timeless Tropics today. And this set comes from our spring mini catalog, and it can be found on pages 38 and 39, and it's a beautiful suite. There's everything you could possibly need, as I will show you today. I've used many of the colors, the designer series paper, and the die cuts, the stamps, and so forth. So here is the card we're actually going to be making today. This card was inspired for several reasons. My daughter-in-law's birthday is coming up in April, and she is, like me, a beach lover, and the tropics is some place that I most recently had the fortune to visit. I'm very blessed that in January, right before the shutdown of everything, we had just taken a cruise to the Southern Caribbean and spent 5 wonderful days in beaches and saw many palm trees and all the beautiful flowers and things you can imagine. And so I was reminiscing on that Saturday. Well, then as I'm finishing cutting out pieces and things on Sunday, I realized it's Palm Sunday. And indeed, I have some palm trees and some palm leaves included in my card. So I thought it was just very fitting to share with you this morning. All right, I'm going to switch my camera a little bit. Try very hard not to make you dizzy. You'll see here my workshop code. Again, I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. I want to go ahead and show you that not only with the, let me turn my volume down here, not only with Timeless Tropic did I make this card, but I'd like to feature a few more ideas. This is really pretty designer series paper that a friend of mine used to cover a little notepad for me. She sent it to me as a gift, and you can see she covered the inside with designer series paper as well. And it's just a nice little handy. It's got a few little pearl embellishments on it, and it's cute and handy for my purse. The other day I had my grandson here at the house, and he was being entertained watching me in between his homework assignments, and he was fascinated with my die cut machine. So we decided to cut out pineapples. He was very excited about his. He took his home. When he left, I was left with a pineapple, and I thought, well, what am I going to do with this? Of course, I never want to waste anything. So I put the pineapple on top of a piece of embossed paper, and I cut out a few more pineapples, colored them in with my blends, and then just adhered them onto the card. We also have in that same die cut set the word aloha. So I put a card together within a few minutes after having had that pineapple cut with my grandson. Okay, so this card I'm not sure what its formal name is, but I'm calling it a double gatefold. I had struggled with the fact that this card just kind of likes to pop open, and so I finally decided at the end that I would use this beautiful little braided trim cord that we sell, and I decided to use it as a band to hold it closed so that when it mails, it's got this real nice close feature. I also kind of thought of what it's like, the gateway into a beautiful lanai or just opening up to the Paradise Beach. And so I chose the ornate gates to put on the outside of the card. And again, I embellished it with one of our embossing folders. As a matter of fact, before I go any further, because of the way I'm going to demonstrate today, I'm not going to spend a lot of time cutting all the pieces out because, as I mentioned, there are a lot of pieces. So what I chose to do instead is to show you what it is that I've used, okay? So as I mentioned, Timeless Tropic is sold in our mini catalog. This is the stamp set that I used completely making this card. The embossing I just described is our new embossing folder from that same bundle, that same suite, and it's called Coastal Weave. These are some of the die cuts. I was telling you about that little pineapple die cut. Here's the leaves to the pineapple, the beautiful little flowers and leaves, all of the outline to the the palm tree. All of these pieces I used to create part of our card. And that one's called In the Tropics. I could not resist this beautiful ornate opening, and it comes from a very different die set. It's optional, you don't have to have all of these, but I had them handy, so I chose to use it. There's other ways you can cover your opening. And this one's the Birthday Jubilee die set. This set just in itself, it has two beautiful ornate dies that you can do so much with. So I bought that die set specifically to decorate cards that way. I have an old favorite of mine that came out in last year's annual catalog, and it's called Tropical Chic. And I love the way the palm leaves are cut, the tropical leaves are cut. They're actually two pieces, and you'll see how I use them later in two different kinds of pieces. Now, I know we're all about saving some paper. In a few minutes, you're going to see on the inside of the card, I used a trim to make my DSP pop out. And because it was a large square, I decided that if I used a rectangular die cut, I could trim and use just the frame of what I needed in my card, and I would save some of that soft suede card that I love and have an extra piece. This is my leftover piece that I'll be able to use on another card very soon. And then this is an all-time favorite of mine as well. This set, oh dear, my dogs are barking. There must be a squirrel in the backyard. I'm hopeful my husband's close by. He'll let them out. Bear with me. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to speak as loud as possible. This wonderful beach chair favorite of mine comes from Colorful Seasons. This die suite is also very versatile. You can use it all year long. It has leaves, it has snowflakes, it has beautiful flowers, a nice curve. So this die cut set is a favorite of mine as well. So with the exception of those few little pieces that can be optional to this card, for the most part, this card is a tropical suite. All right, let's go back to the card. So as you can see, I've used my gates, opened my card with my hibiscus. I've put a couple of little flowers, palm trees. There's my beach chair. My message is to rest and relax. You deserve it. And then it's called a double fold gate card because not only do the gates open, but there's a second fold where the card comes, the card sentiment is hidden. And so this one says, may your birthday be memorable. All right, well, let's see how to put this together. As I mentioned, I played around with it a little bit before I came to the conclusion of using the twine on the outside, the braided twine on the outside. I actually tried another idea, and I framed and put the twine on the inside. I only found that that just made it a little bit bulkier. So I'm going to stick with my original design. All right, first of all, I have my Grapefruit Grove paper, and this is very simple. This is an 8.5 by 11 inch paper, and with this we're going to cut, or actually you're going to use the entire sheet, and you're going to score along the long side. You're going to score it so that it is 2 3/4 and 8 1/4. And I'm going to post all of this on my blog, www.stampinggloria.com. I'll put this on my blog so you'll have the measurements later. So you're scoring it against the long side, then you turn it to the short side, and you're going to score it all the way down at 4 1/4. Typically that's where we cut our paper when we're going to just make 1/2 of the card folded into a traditional A2 size card. So this card is actually a whole sheet of paper, and we're just going to cut those outer rectangles. Now I will tell you this, I used my trimmer. I tried different ways. The best way for me to cut this out was to use my trimmer, and when I trim just inside that score line. I want this piece to be just ever so slightly more narrow so that my pages, my gates will fold in nicely and it won't be bulky. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take my tropical weave and I'm just going to put some adhesive on it. Again, this tropical weave is a standard measured at 4 inches by 5 1/4. I embossed it as a whole sheet, and then I cut it in half. And so 5 1/4 cut in half becomes 2 3/8. So you'll see that I still have the margin there. Now what I'm going to do, I don't know if you just noticed, I flip my card so that I can see the edge, and I'm going to bring this piece right up to the edge as I want it to close like a door. I want it to look like a door opening and closing. Now in order to keep this other side straight, I'm going to check the direction. Yep, got my weave going the same way. And I'm going to butt it right up against there. And there, I've got my doors. Now, called in that extra carpenter. I got some real fancy trim going here. Use my mat. Actually, take it back. I used some glue. This ornate piece has enough margin that I'm going to be able to just put enough glue here that's going to hold it in place. There's some little open spaces here that allow me to put some glue dots. This margin's real nice, so a little stream of glue fits nicely. Turn that over. I'm also going to butt that up against the edge. There we go. Take some of that glue. There we go. I used my silicone sheet because it will peel right off. Okay. Again, we'll do the other side. Glue there, there. Find a few flat spaces here in the center. Along this line, along the sides here. I want to be sure and hold those corners down. Again, lining it right up to the other gate. And there we have our gate, nice and decorated. All right, I want this magnolia, not magnolia, it's hibiscus. It's one of my absolute favorite flowers, in fact. I have them in my front yard. I have them in multiple colors. Red is absolutely my favorite, though. I'm going to take some dimensionals and just pop. I want my flower stem, the pistil, to be pointing upward. So again, I'm making this card upside down for me so that you can see it right side up. All right, so I'm going to be putting my dimensionals on these two corners, or petals I should say, not corners. There we go. Remember, you only want it on two because obviously if you put it on all four sides, you're not going to be able to open your gates. All right, that's the outside of our card for now. We can't tie it till we're all done, right? So let's go to the inside. I'm going to wait, and I'm working my way into the center of the card. So on the two side cards, what I've done is I have put two of these beautiful little flowers, and I like to pop those up as well. So I'm just going to put a dimensional on the back of each one of those. And just lay them kind of in a little diagonal fashion, drawing to the center, starting from the outside, drawing into the center of the card. There. I tell you, this was like the best therapy this weekend because it really did remind me of those beautiful beaches and the beautiful trees and gorgeous flowers, all that tropical weather. So in this die set, there are actually 4 little leaves. This suite, by the way, has some beautiful embellishments. And I have no idea why, the life of me, I did not buy the embellishments. So to me, you can make your own embellishments. You just find the little dies and just cut several of them up, which is, you know, what I've done here with these leaves. And I'm just using them to pop in some color and a little bit of texture, additional texture. So my leaves are laying flat, but my flowers have popped up. So that's one side. The other side, I'm going to put the palm trees. And again, love these dimensionals. You know, you get over 300 dimensionals in a package. Oh my God, they last forever. And then I am going to glue the legs down, and I'll show you why, because the chair is going to go on top of it's going to kind of lay over the base of the tree. So I'm just going to hold those down a little bit. There you go. Now I need my chair. Again, I'm using my little silicone mat. It has narrow margins, but still just enough. I can get some glue in there. Hold it down. My favorite thing, even if we're not somewhere exotic, which, you know, honestly, January was just a true blessing. It was our big anniversary, and my husband called it my retirement celebration. That was the reason for that big, wonderful cruise. But for the average, we'll just take a trip down to Rockport for the weekend. And my favorite thing is to get my little short the little short legged Tommy Bahama beach chair. Sit there. They have little pockets. Put my little beer on the side, or little ice cold Diet Coke on the side, and I just sit there close to the water and just let the waves touch my feet. That's just my relaxation. All right, now we're going to work towards the center here, and as I mentioned, I have already trimmed these. So originally, the very first card I made, I had put the entire 5 1/4 by 4 inches piece of soft suede, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's certainly the fastest, easiest way to do it. But like I said, you know, it never hurts to be a little thrifty if it's not going to ruin. You don't ever want to ruin your card for being thrifty. But in this case, I found that, you know, that's a pretty good size DSP, or not DSP, a cardstock I can use on another card. I already have an idea for the other card too. So what I did was I just cut out the center. It's not going to show because my DSP is going to go right there. And for the DSP, I'm just going to use my snail adhesive. You know, I love the snail adhesive is amazing. I first started stamping in 2004. I have card swaps. I promise you, I have card swaps from 2004 that are still in one piece. Can you believe that? The glue and the tape has lasted so long and so well. Okay, for the center of my card, I'm going to be putting the first sentiment, rest and relax, you deserve it. And here's where I'm using these really cool, these are from Tropical Chic. And these are made, I cut these from the vellum. This is the Perennial Essence vellum. And I'm just gonna, actually it was easier for me to just put them on the back of this. And you'll see in a minute I'm gonna put more dimensionals. So I'm gonna hang this guy right there and get one of these guys. So many things. This little guy over here. Okay, now I have them where I want them in place. And guess what I'm gonna put on there? Yep, more dimensional. It'll also help to hold those pieces in place. Okay. Did you know there's a little trick a friend of mine showed me? If you poke it just enough and tug up, that'll take the backing off the dimensional. Ta-da! There you go. Rest and relax. So just that alone is pretty fabulous, don't you think? I love it. All right, the final piece. Ta-da! Where are you? Oh my goodness, where are you? Where are you? I think when I was clearing off my desk space, I think because it was just, here it is, my white piece. Oh, I opened the wrong one anyway. There we go. So on this one, I will do a little stamping. We've only been on about 20 minutes, so I'll make this quick. I'm going to use my Memento ink. And this is where there's a little, I'm just going to share a little technique, just in case you've never used our blends. Oh my gosh, they are so forgiving and so easy to use. So in the original, I just stamped my 3 flowers off to the side. I'm going to use my mat so I don't mess up my table here. There's 1, 2, and 3. There's no magic, no perfect. Oh, and then might as well stamp the words. May your birthday be memorable. Center that right there. Okay, so in coloring these little flowers, I don't know what they're called. They're not baby hibiscus. I've never seen one grow like that, but I don't know my flower names well enough. So what I did was I took, we don't have Grapefruit Grove blends. It is an in color, and as I mentioned earlier, it's one of the 5 that will be retiring in June. So what I did was I took a color that's very close. That's what I love about our colors. My favorite thing of all about Stampin' Up! Is that all of our colors match. They just blend together. My designer series paper was a perfect match to all the pieces I put. Anyway, so I'm just going to color the inside of these flowers just to give them some cheeriness. A little bit of, so quickly. The darkness there already gives it some depth, so all I'm doing is adding some color to it. Then I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight, and our blends come, you can buy them 2 in a pack, so you get a light and a dark shade of them, makes your blending a little easier, or you can buy them singly, and they're $4.50 singly, so 9 for the pair, or $4.50 singly. And I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight and just color in the flower. I like leaving that little outer petal, the one that twists out a little bit, I leave that white. I'm just coloring it right there. Did you see how easy these are? And they're two tips. I happen to use the pointy tip. I'm gonna actually, I love my brush tip because that's really, you don't have to press down on these. And sadly, I've had first timers, they'll press down on them and then they really kind of bend that brush a little too much so it becomes too soft. But I'm just barely touching this paper, and the color, the liquid, it's an alcohol-based ink. The liquid just flows quickly and smoothly. So I'm just filling that in. There we go. A little bit of color. Let's get some adhesive on the back of this. We're just about done, guys. Where'd it go? Here we go. There you go. May your birthday be memorable. I wish I could send a gift card and say, here, take a trip, take a cruise on me. Or better yet, I'd like to get this card with a ticket to a cruise. I know. Some of y'all are thinking, oh my God, with everything going on, I'll never go on a cruise again. Some of you have never been on a cruise. I tell you what, there's so much beauty in the world, and it's so sad that we have been put on hold for this very trying time. So making a card like this reminds me of the beauty of what we have, and reminds me that this is only temporary. It will all come, we'll come through it. It'll all get better. We'll resume normal life. And I can't stress enough that even if you've never traveled along the U.S., get in your car and take a road trip. I know my friend Erica, I loved following her this spring break. She took her family. They took a road trip up to the Grand Canyon. Now that's a place I've never been. Much as I've traveled around the world, I grew up as a military brat, that's one reason. But much as I've traveled around the world, I sure need to spend more time visiting our beautiful United States of America. Okay, so that's our card for today. These other ones that I showed you, the pineapple, that is so easy because you're just using your die cut and a little stamp that we have. And again, I did the same thing, except this one I used pineapple punch, but I just colored in my little leaves with my pineapple punch, and I believe I used the, what was that other color? Oh, my mind escapes me. It's the Clover, Call Me Clover, green. So that card, I can add the instructions to that in my blog when you follow my blog, www.stampinggloria.com. Easy to find me. I'll be putting this on just later today. Bear with me. All right, so let me tell you, if you make a purchase, $35 or more, here is my workshop code. This is how I'll know that you've ordered from me, and this is how I'll know to send you this wonderful 15-page PDF file. I have wonderful colleagues. Trisha Magnus did 3 projects highlighting our beautiful, lovely lipstick. Marianne Curtis highlighted Grapefruit Grove. I highlighted the pineapple punch color. And no, the pineapple card I just showed you isn't one of them. There's actually 3 others. One of them is a sliding card. So there's a lot of fun things. There's a basket that Tiffany shows when she features her blueberry bushel. And then Call Me Clover is featured by Patty Davidson. So 15 projects in our PDF file. Measurements, pictures. Guys, you can't beat that. That's a lot of free stuff for a $35 purchase. So I encourage you, visit my site. The catalogs are there. You can scroll through the catalogs. The PDF attachments are there. We're selling out of 2 catalogs, the annual catalog, which goes through this June, as well as the mini spring catalog. I've enjoyed my morning with you. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Let's see, I've seen a lot of folks popping up, but I haven't read your names here. Hi, Tiffany. Thanks for watching. Mia, thank you. Ginger, thank you so much for joining me. I know I saw Robin on here earlier too. Thank you very much. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Stay blessed, stay healthy, and we'll see you around. Bye-bye.